Find the equation of the tangent line for the function g of x equals radical x plus 2 at the point 2, comma 2. Right, so of course, what this means here is when we plug in 2 into the function, right, that's the x coordinate. We'll plug in 2, we get 2 plus 2, which is 4. Okay, so yeah, it's the x coordinate and the y coordinate here. All right, so what does a graph of this look like? Well, we don't really need to graph it, but I think it will help just a little bit. This is the radical function that is shifted to the left 2 units, right? So just draw that. Okay, of course, we're going to eyeball this. So this will be the point here, 2, comma 2. Okay. And what we want is the tangent line at this point, right? The tangent line is going to touch that right at that point there. So we want the equation of this line. Well, first thing we need is we need the slope, right? How are we going to find the slope? Well, we learned one way to do this. We're going to take the limit as h approaches 0. In this case, g of 2 plus h minus g of 2 all over h. Okay. So really what this is saying is, there's a distance h, right? We're going to pick 2 points, right? And connect these two to get a line. And then this distance is going to get smaller and smaller. That's h. So as this gets smaller and smaller, then eventually we're going to get to the tangent line, right? Okay. So this is g of 2 plus h, right? H is the distance here. And this is g of 2. And then as h gets smaller and smaller, so as this distance gets smaller and smaller, right, we're eventually going to hit the tangent line. Okay. This we should be able to do, right? This is just a little bit of algebra. Okay, what is g of 2 plus h? Well, that's what we're going to plug in here, right? So radical 2 plus h plus 2 minus g of 2. Now that's just the y value here, right? So g of 2 is just 2. Divide that by h. Okay. Technically, you should write this each time. Okay. If you don't, it's not that big a deal. Just remember to take the limit at the very end. Okay. And notice what we get. We get a radical, right? Radical 4 plus h minus 2 all over h. Okay. And once we plug in, when you plug into 0 here, we get 2. We get 0 over 0, right? So that doesn't mean that the limit doesn't exist, right? We're going to do a little bit of algebra here. Right, so here we see the radical in the numerator, so we're going to rationalize. Okay, but we're not rationalizing the denominator, we're rationalizing the numerator. So multiply by radical 4 plus h plus 2, then radical 4 plus h plus 2. Okay? Now, if you need to put parentheses around these, you can, okay, just to make sure you do this properly here. Okay, what is the end result? Okay, now in the denominator, I am not going to distribute this, so I'm just going to keep it as it is. And we'll see why later. But what happens in the numerator? Well, we're foiling, right? We're foiling conjugates. Okay? It's called the difference of two squares. So I know that when I foil, right, I only need to multiply the first terms and the last 2 terms. So radical 4 plus h times radical 4 plus h. Hey, that's just 4 plus h. And then negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, sorry. Notice what happens here. These cancel out. We have the h divided by this h down. Look, we can cancel these out actually. Right? So look at what we're left with. We are left with the limit as h approaches 0 of 1 over radical 4 plus h plus 2. Hey, wait a minute. What happens when I plug into 0 now? When I plug into 0 now, I get 1 over radical 4 plus 2. Of course, radical 4 is just 2. We get 1/4. So what does that 1/4 represent? That is the slope of this line here, right? The slope of this line for the function at 2, comma 2, the slope of this tangent line is 1/4. We want the equation of that line though. So we're going to use the point slope formula here and just plug everything in, right? We know the point, we know the slope here, just plug these guys in, okay? So y minus 2 equals 1/4, x minus 2. Distribute out that 1/4 here, we get 1/4 x minus 1/2. So then when I add the 2 back to both sides here, I get y equals 1/4 x. And negative 1/2 plus 2 gives me plus 3 over 2. So the equation of this tangent line at that point is going to be y equals 1/4 x plus 3 over 2.